So in all the drama surrounding the BBC's recent statement on the future of Doctor Who, I kind of forgot to cover something that's actually pretty big news, and it concerns basically what was a sort of rumoured ending to Season 2. For context, recently the Season 2 steelbooks, the Blu-ray steelbooks, have shipped. In fact, I have my copy right here. I haven't opened it yet, but it shipped a few days ago. I got the 60th and Season 1 steelbooks, so I thought I might as well complete the collection. Plus, I kind of thought it'd be cool to have, a copy of an episode I was in on disc. So I picked that up, but it was discovered by people that essentially there is a special feature that kind of confirms that there was intended to be an additional scene with Susan in the reality war, which up to now was only speculated. And I mean, we had pretty strong basis for that speculation, but this pretty much confirms that yes, there was an additional scene filmed with Susan for the reality war that obviously got cut as a result of the reshoots, leading to the departure of Ncuti Gatwa. And I just wanted to talk about this and kind of give my thoughts on it, because I think it's kind of a tragic situation in a way, and I kind of wanted to explore that and kind of give my thoughts on it. But before we get into it, do me a teeny tiny little favour and click that subscribe button. It'd be very much appreciated. We are trying to get to 30,000 subscribers, and we're currently on 29,200. In fact, I think we're close to 29,300 now, so any support would be greatly appreciated. But let's dive right in. So I have to start by giving a shout out to Matthew Purchase over on Twitter for making this discovery. Look at him, he has the whole access to all of the steelbooks. I'm very jealous. I wish I had this. I know some of them go for insane prices now, so yeah, hold on to those. But anyway, he made the discovery on his copy that this is interesting. On Disc 4, the story in Interstellar Discs, there's a feature called Reality War Companion Catch-Up. Its interview with Verada and Carol Ann was posted to YouTube, but it's telling that it was originally made for Reality War. And of course, the interview they're referring to is this one. What does it take to travel in the TARDIS? Verada Sethu interviews Carol Ann Ford. This was a very nice interview, and obviously it was released around the time of Interstellar to coincide with her return, and you can see here that she is wearing the costume from that episode. However, on the steelbook, it is listed as the Reality War Companion Catch-Up, implying that this is them catching up post the events of Reality War, which is interesting for two reasons. Obviously, on one level, it does confirm that there was another scene filmed with Carol Ann Ford, but two, it also implies that there may have been additional scenes of them talking in this interview that were context-specific to the Reality War, the original version of Reality War, that we did not see. We also know from Doctor Who Unleashed that Carol Ann Ford wore a different costume in interviews for that, very much obviously implying once again that there was more filmed with her than what we saw. And in case you're wondering what this scene would have been, it seems highly likely that the scene would have included, according to various leaks from various sources, a party with the Doctor and Belinda at the end of the Reality War, once everything was resolved, where Susan would look off at them in the distance, and that would be the hook into a proposed Season 3, which obviously never happened. Obviously, that's not a confirmed ending, that's kind of just what leakers have said, but given how accurate the leaks have been for this season, I find it to be likely that that was the case. And I'm kind of the belief that even if all that scene was her looking off into the distance at the Doctor, I feel like there's a duty to show whatever Carol Ann Ford filmed. And this is where it gets difficult, right? Because obviously they are running with the narrative that it was always the plan for Ncuti Gatwa to leave and do these 2 seasons and leave after that.
It was always the plan. You know it's going to happen when you get cast. You're like, I'm going to have to hand this baton over one time. It's all going to come to an end.
But obviously they can't release the Carol Ann Ford, alternate takes, alternate ending of Season 2, because that would essentially confirm everything that we already know. That, Ncuti leaving isn't the plan, and he left, for other reasons, and it wasn't just, this, oh yeah, that was always the number of series I was going to do thing, which is the official line that they're running with, and they seem to be sticking to. So, as long as that's the line they're sticking to, we're probably never going to see this footage of Carol Ann Ford as Susan, which I just think is really sad. Even if it is just a scene of her standing there, I don't really care. Carol Ann Ford, it's not just any companion return, it's the first companion return. And Carol Ann Ford in particular has been incredibly outspoken over many years as to how she's wanted to come back into the main show, into the modern show. And she finally does, and most of, like, her inclusion, or at least a good chunk of it, gets cut. And I just think that's really sad. Like, and I think it's even sadder that we can't even see, you know, the deleted scenes, because I know that they did upload deleted scenes for season 1, but you're not going to see them, because if they upload those, then that's proof that more stuff was filmed for the ending of Reality War than they're letting on. And it sucks because, in the nicest way, we're probably not going to get many opportunities for Carol Ann Ford to come back again. You know, Carol Ann Ford is getting on in age, and it's just really sad to me that the one opportunity that we had to finally do this, and I'm glad that, you know, she is in it, so there is that element to it, and I am very glad that they did that. But the fact that, like, scenes of her were cut from this original version, it sucks. And obviously I understand the reasoning, right? You can't have a scene of them all partying at the end if you have to add on Gatwa's regeneration. However, I certainly hope that this footage sees the light of day in some capacity. If I have to be completely honest, as much as I enjoyed the 13th Doctor scene in the Reality War, I did think that scene was good, and I did think that Jodie did a good job in it. If you were to ask me personally, which would I have preferred? That scene with Jodie comforting Ncuti over his regeneration, or instead having it reshot so that Susan is the one to comfort him for his regeneration? I think I know which one I would be saying, and that's not only because, you know, 13 isn't my favourite, it's got nothing to do with that, it's more just the fact that Susan was not only built up throughout this entire series, but she's been the one hanging thread for Doctor Who for 60 years. And I think if there was uncertainty around the show's future, I feel like there needed to be something for Susan at the end. And I feel like that would have felt way more satisfying than Ncuti's final moments being with the star Joy from Joy to the World. Like, was anyone really clamouring for him to, you know, proclaim his love for Joy in that moment? Not really. Would it have been really sweet if, in his final moments of life, he went to go see Susan? I think that would have been much more fitting. And I think if you had to reshoot it, you could have done. Carol Ann Ford was there, you know, you could have had her on the TARDIS with Ncuti having that final moment. You could have done it. And I will forever find it a shame that more stuff was filmed with Susan that we just will never see. I think that's so sad. Hopefully, in years to come, maybe in a collection box set or something, that scene will finally see the light of day. That version of Reality War that we all know exists, we've seen the images from it, we've seen, you know, different costumes for it, we know that a different ending was filmed, will one day find its way, you know, into, like, some sort of physical media release. But, I mean, for now, I'm kind of the belief of, like, release the Susan cut. I don't know. I just think that, for Carol Ann Ford specifically, it's been an ambition of hers for so long to come back to the show, and it just doesn't sit right with me that any of it got cut. You know what I mean? I get that things get cut, and I get that things change, but man, is it sad. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you're new, like if you enjoy, and I'll see you later.